Hi, I'm Scott Jackson, number 3, play defense. With the new rules, it's definitely tougher for defensemen as far as trying to keep control of the forwards down low. You have to use your stick a lot more and you can't be grabbing on. So I think the biggest thing is just being more sound defensively, just with your positioning. You can't let a guy get in behind you, because if he gets a puck to him, there's not really anything you can do. Players that have stuck out in the league would have to be, I guess, to say Brûlé, just because he's such a solid player and skilled right from the start. But even playing here, I remember my first year watching Gertzen, just because he's such a strong, solid player. I think he was one that I'd like to watch too. I guess for me it probably would be my first goal. Just being against Portland, I scored 2 in the same game, and it was one to tie it up. So just for being my first year and against Portland, you always have a good crowd, and so you're always just that more excited. That would probably be the one. In the spring, I worked as just putting together pools. It's actually a pretty interesting job. I got to work outside and it was physical, so kind of tried to save up a little money, and then I went to Calgary for a couple of weeks and trained with Hicks. And then that was just before I went down to St. Louis for the prospect camp. Seattle's actually got a lot to offer. I remember talking to Zach Fitzgerald, and he just says he misses it here so much. Such a beautiful city, and there is a lot to do with the Space Needle and the Pike Place Market and everything like that. But I also just love being able to see the mountains and everything on a clear day, which kind of happens more in the spring and the fall. But it's I love the scenery too. It's a pretty big range. Usually I just kind of throw it on a shuffle, anything from hip-hop to country to rock, but kind of depending on the mood, a lot of rock, but if I'm a little easygoing, more just some country. The other Scott Jackson, that's been bugging me probably for the last 4 or 5 years, ever since he used to live outside of town, about 45 minutes outside of Salmon Arm, and he moved in and started playing sports and started getting his name in the paper. And I'd have my grandma was definitely, she got pretty confused sometimes, but he just played a couple games with Lethbridge, and somehow his stats got put in with mine all the time, and so people were getting us mixed up. But just a pure coincidence that he's about a second cousin of mine and somehow got the same name as me.